Thank you for traveling Etihad Airways.
Looking forward, desperate to feel happy, and the joy, and in every training session he's smiling his face and can contribution. So one of the reasons why last season we struggled, because we miss him a lot in the final third, in the creativity, in the work ethic, and yeah, so top with that. I'm so nice. I have huge respect for history and what they have done in the past. So the legacy for the English football, legacy for world football. So they beat us. At the end is finish the season. You know, in 90s always was in front. Maybe Man City beat them sometimes, home and away, and in 27 years they won 30 times the Premier League. So in the last 9 years we won 6 times the Premier League. In the last 8 we won 6. So that's why at the end what counts at the end. And at the end we were better, and since I arrived, always we were better than them. Always. 10 years, 9 years, always we were better. With a huge amount of points we have done to him. They can beat us, of course. We will not be beaten tomorrow, no. And on Sunday, no. Because we need the points. We need to break the rhythm, the 2 defeats, and do it that. But I don't count about what happened. Of course, it hurts because I want that points to help us to win the trophies or be there. And of course, it's a special game for our fans and the other one. But we will try to do it.
You're not fair too much in life.
Do you think any Premier League defenders are scared of you?
I don't know. You have to ask people. They'll probably say no, but they are.
Phenomenal! Week after week after week, who will ever stand in the way of Erling Haaland?
Amorim sprung a surprise in the starting 11. Manuel Ugarte started in midfield. That meant Casemiro was dropped to the bench, where he was joined by Casemiro. The reason Amorim chose Ugarte was because he wanted his players to cover ground and press. And indeed, the Uruguay international offered that in the early stages, when United were bright and on the front foot. But the change did not work in the overall scheme of things. Even Ugarte's ball-winning tenacity could not cover for the gaps that seemed to widen in United's midfield, which is now routinely being targeted, outnumbered, and overrun by opponents. And this is where Foden's opener comes into play, and it also shows why putting an experienced player like Casemiro on the bench is a mistake in big games. But first, let's look at how City started off the game. Look at the connectivity and close proximity of the players outnumbering United. Now fast forward to City's opener. This image says it all. Look at the zonal position of United and how much space City have in between the lines because of the distance between the Man United blocks. Playing in a central role with Bernardo Silva shuffled to the right flank, Foden basically found himself arriving into the penalty area at the perfect moment. So how did it tactically happen? For City to unlock United, the approach taken was to have bodies between the lines and pin the wide centre-back to prevent him from jumping forward. That credit goes to Tijani Reinders, as you can see here. He is occupying Luke Shaw, and this allows Jeremy Doku fall into this space to receive the ball. And from here it was the turn and magical feat from the Belgian to dribble forward with a feint and then burst into the box. He broke through, and the crossed for Foden, arriving late to score only his 3rd Premier League header. This is what playing a number 10 allows, which City made the most of, but United lacked. The late arrival of a player behind the striker allows you to load the box with more bodies and hence more threat. Another important thing to note was that Bruno Fernandes fell asleep on this goal, failing to track a runner again, just as he did at Craven Cottage last month. Here we see him failing to track Foden, the goal scorer. Injuries gave Amorim the opportunity to restore his captain to a number 10 role, but he persisted with playing him in the middle of the park, and United's problems persisted because of that. Amorim did move him up later in the game, but it was too little too late. Man City had Donnarumma in goal to save any danger from United. And yes, goalkeepers win you tournaments, so Guardiola has basically struck gold. City now have their very own Buffon, the other Gianluigi. Haaland then made it 2-0. Now look at this image, and again we see this space here. This is what City capitalized on. So theoretically, it's very similar to the first goal from a tactical perspective. exploiting the space between United's blocks. Now, what are you supposed to do in a situation like this? Well, first you got to trigger the offside trap. Secondly, a player has got to move into that circle of space to block the path of Doku, sending him wide, so the threat level goes down. Haaland should have scored again when he rounded Bayindir but hit a post. Now this is a classic counter-press situation where the pass is a bad one. Whenever this type of a situation happens, it's always going to be a big threat. No matter, Haaland was sent through on goal again on 68 minutes and tucked it away for 3-0, running free from inside his own half. Here you can't trigger the offside trap because everything is happening in City's half. And so, when the press gets broken down and you're playing an extreme high line, it's a recipe for disaster. But it's heaven for a player like Haaland who loves to run into space, and the bigger that gap between the goalkeeper and the last line of defense, the better. The point to note is that the lower the block, the more Haaland struggles because there's no space, and he has to rely on headers at the end of crosses which he's not that good at. So Amorim's tactics for this match gifted him the goal. Similarly, Tijani Reinders was also sent through in the same fashion but clipped his finish wide. The win takes City up in the Premier League rankings, but more than that, it drives fear into the opponents that City might finally be back. And that psychological edge for City will play on the performances of other teams. United are now 14th, having won only one of their opening 4 games, and this will create noise on the red side of the city. As for Haaland, this performance makes it 5 goals from his opening 4 Premier League games. And the 7th goal he has scored this week, after putting 5 past Moldova for Norway on Tuesday. For those who are a fan of the numbers, Haaland's 8 goals against Manchester United are more than any other player across the past 4 seasons. But this wasn't even the best part of the performance. Today, Haaland even played as a defense for a certain part of the game, and from this touch map, you can see he was actually even better than City's very own centre-backs. In one progression, he made 3-headed saves, and it looked like he was genuinely enjoying his new role, until Guardiola asked him to snap out of it and become a striker again. Looking at Benjamin Sesko, it was his first Premier League start, which was a headline in itself. And though he was willing presence up front, he was often isolated. This is why Amorim needs a number 10. But Amorim says he will stick to his philosophy no matter what. And if United want to change in philosophy, then he says change the man. So basically, at the end of the day, Amorim rolled the dice with each of his selections. None of them came off.
If you look at the goals, we can avoid that kind of goals. With Doku, we have almost everyone behind the ball. And we could be more aggressive. The second goal, in the moment of the game that we are pressing City, we suffer a goal in the throw-in when we want to recover the ball instead of covering the space and then to win the ball. We let 2 players of City 1 against 1. The approach that we had in that play, we can avoid and we can close our goal. And then the third goal, Haaland has all the space, a confusion with our players, and then he has all the space to play. So in these moments, I felt that if you look at the goals, there are that moments we could avoid. And that is the key of the games, is to take advantage of these moments. And they took it, and not in us, in transitions. Great shot from Ryan. In those moments, they were better than us. But I'm not going to change. When I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man. So, and we will talk about that every game that we lose. I don't believe in that, in the system or whatever. So I play my way, and I'm going to play my will until I want to change.